And we're back for another episode of Say It and For. Welcome to everyone. I'm your host, Terrence Edwards. We have Kevin Brown, of course, Kevin Jones, Tamisha Blue, and Roderick Smith. Welcome to the show. We're going to hop directly into our first topic. A Minnesota woman was caught in a viral video slinging a series of racial slurs, and it was an autistic kid who happens to be 5 years old. Take a look at this clip right here.
Call him a child?
The fuck you talking
Did you
about?
call the child the word?
None of your fucking business.
It is my own business. You call him a Okay, why don't you have the balls to say it right now again?
Fuck you.
Alright, that's what you say.
You don't go digging through people's shit, you dumb fuck.
Nobody dig into your shit.
A little fucking kid just did, you dumbass.
That little kid, you call him
Yeah.
the little child?
What if he acts like one, he's gonna...
Are you about to hit him? You chase him here?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child, 5-year-old, the N-word.
If that's what he's gonna act
That's
like.
what you're gonna call him.
That's what he's gonna act like.
You know, that's a hate speech. And you can be recorded for that.
I don't give a shit.
Roderick, what's going on with this?
So she was at the park. She was at the park with her kid, and she said that the young man that was 5 years old, who happened to be autistic, that he took something out of her bag. Excuse me. Another parent overheard her saying the slurs to the kid. She repeated them, I counted maybe 4 or 5 times, and then she didn't back down. She stood on what she said, and so she consistently repeated it. For me, I look at it as, of course, I'm looking at the demographics. I'm looking at where she's located. They're in Minnesota, for example, and the community that they were in, where the park was located, is about 71.5% white. And I do think, again, I'm very, very big on demographics. I do think that does play a role in it. I actually did a little bit of research on it. And I also seen, which is very surprising, that she previously had a black partner. She was in a relationship with a black man. And so that looked like it was some time ago, because judging by the pictures, she looked like she probably was in her early 20s. And so I think that was some time ago, but it still was like, it's a very unusual situation because, again, predominantly white neighborhood. The kid was autistic. She said he took some out of her bag. From the video that you played, what I also noticed is that what she held up that the kid took out the bag, it was one of those, like, I don't know if it's like a drink, but it's like that little snack.
It's like applesauce.
Is it applesauce?
Yeah, it's like applesauce.
Squeezy looking, Capri Sun looking bag. And so my other thought is that if the kid really did take the applesauce, for example, I don't know. I mean, where I come from, I would have let the kid have the applesauce, and the return would have never been calling the kid slang, N-word. Because again, when you're seeing kids in the park, again, you don't know whether he was autistic or not autistic. That doesn't matter. She shouldn't have responded in the way that she responded to a kid, not her kid or somebody else's kid. And then to respond with a racial slur, that's like hatred that's built up in you, that you've been, waiting to use, or you probably use often, to be honest with you. So again, sad, very, very sad, because she's at a park. And again, not only did she say this to the kid, but there were other kids and other parents that could hear her. And so for me, that's just definitely an example of bad parenting.
So Shiloh Hendrix, that's her name. She's stating that the viral video has put her family in jeopardy. She has this little GoFundMe. I think they took that down. Well, the GoFundMe they took down. She did have that up. And then now is the Gives and Go, which before this show of filming, it reached $675,919. And she's asking for $1 million. Kevin Brown, thoughts?
Close your mouth.
Close your mouth. Nah, that's crazy. 600K. Wow. Right, I'm gonna say it. There's a lot of racist people out here. That's crazy.
She originally asked for what? $100,000.
I don't care what she.
I think she originally asked for $100,000.
I don't care what she asked for. Asking for anything for that is wild. Well, literally, for what? Right. She's out of pocket. Talking to a kid that way, even if you don't analyze it the way that you did, you're just looking at a kid as an adult doing kid stuff. That's out of pocket. You're just wrong for that. Definitely wrong for doubling down. And
triple down.
What's interesting? Yeah, she tripled down. What's interesting? I always like to say, the internet's going to punish this person. They're going to get punished in the court of public opinion. But I'm wrong. I'm $600,000 wrong. That's crazy.
Yep.
So let me ask this: do you think that maybe the 600,000 population decided to support her in defense of what happened with Carmelo Anthony and what his people did to support him, because they have about the same amount at this point, where those people notice, well, damn, they're supporting over there. They got six
But his
something.
is for a legal defense. Hers is just because
You don't need it.
she's gonna need it because she's not gonna be able to get a job. I'm
No,
sure
she
she's
don't
gonna
need
find
it
a job
because
for one of
it is
these
a hate
racist
crime.
people.
Well, she got to move, things like that. You know, she's got to
I
get herself
mean,
together.
I guess whatever. Get out and find a job. Somebody will hire you.
Rod?
I'm going to go back to the numbers. 71.5%. Neighborhood.
in that town.
I don't think the 9.38% of African American population she has to worry about in that city that they live in. It's not even a lot of people there, like I said. And I think that the people that supported her, I don't think it was a connection to the other case. I think it was in support of hatred. They said they liked the fact that she used the N-word, and they wanted to show how much support is put behind that. And so that's why they put their money where their mouth was. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to show us, like, hey, we believe in this. A lot of people were talking about freedom of speech, and I heard different things like that when doing my research. That's why people really supported, what she said, because a lot of people want to say that and may feel that they can't, and so they really wanted to show that, hey, a little bit over $500,000 of support her, and that's what they showed us.
Before I go over to Kevin Jones, there was a part of the video. She stated, "If you act like one, I'm going to call him that." That's what she was saying about the little boy, that he was acting like the N-word in that moment by stealing and taking something away from her. So that's why she called him that. Jones.
The kid was 5 years old, correct?
Correct. 5.
You should never talk to a 5-year-old that way. A 5-year-old doesn't know what the N-word is. A 5-year-old doesn't know how to interpret, hey, this is not mine, but I see it. I might want it. It costs you nothing to be nice. Like Ross said, he was in the bag. Okay, he's in the bag. If it's apple juice, whatever you want, sure, cool, take it. I'm all for that. I'm for promoting peace, quality, all that good stuff. For her to talk to a 5-year-old that way, that turned me off. Period. I don't know if you guys know, but my son is autistic, and he's highly functional. And sometimes a 5-year-old doesn't understand just not even the autistic kid.
5 years
A
old?
5-year-old doesn't understand that. So for that to come out of her mouth, to berate a child like that, that's deeply rooted. Like Rod said, it's coming from it was buried deep in her, and it came out at that point.
So
I think
before we continue, do you think that, and just bear with me here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Everybody, panel.
Here he go.
But
Here he go.
I could listen. I think what she said was unfair. It was wrong. Absolutely. Right. No one should be using that word in 2025 at all, including people that look like us on the screen. But do you think that in that moment that she was slightly startled and it just came out?
No.
Right. It wasn't something that was like on the top of her dome where she just like, oh, you little da-da-da, X, Y, and Z. It was like a startling moment. And then she just happened to say it. And then once you say it, you can't take that back.
But she doubled down and tripled down after.
She tripled down on it too.
Even when he was explaining to her, like he was like, my family plays with him all the time. He didn't. And in my head, I'm thinking maybe he thought the bag was his. He had seen this diaper bag before. I mean, there's not that many different types of diaper bags, guys. It's not. So maybe he thought it was his or his mom's or whoever he was with.
But you're 5 years old. You don't have a diaper bag at 5 years old, though. So
it's just a park bag. It might be his park bag that has
that snack is a lot of kids
in it. Wipes. Parents bring Lysol. They bring all type of stuff to the park when their kids are coming. So that might be the bag that looked like the bag that had his snacks in it. And the guy is explaining this to her, and she's still screaming the N-word over and over and over and over again. Yeah. Maybe it startled her the first time, but the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th time, no, T.
Mm-mm. You don't say you don't pull a word like that unless it's part of your like pretty regular vernacular.
Yeah, it wasn't a slip T. She said it.
I ain't gonna give her that.
Yeah, I won't.
We got to give it to her, Kev. They giving her $600,000. She could.
No, interesting question. What would if it was a 20-some-year-old that they were talking to like that? How does that change the equation? If it changes the equation.
Either way, I still don't think you should talk to somebody like that.
Mm-hmm.
Over applesauce.
Well, I guess like would it be as big of a deal? You know, a 5-year-old versus a grown adult.
Yeah, because she said the N-word.
Could hold their own in that conversation. The person probably recording it at that time would have been the 20-year-old in the day and age, recording this lady calling them the N-word, and either them retaliating with something just as racially fueled, or just saying, "Oh, you're calling me an N-word," because we've seen that. We've seen it with the older person on the other side of the camera trying to show that someone's calling them a racial slur. So
why do you guys
change?
Go ahead, Rod. I'm sorry.
I was going to say that the dynamics change because a 20-year-old at a park with kids, a 20-year-old, like would a 20-year-old have a kid? Like, what are you doing at the park with a kid? So that the things change a little bit when age comes into play, because then you have more questions to figure out. But again, the takeaway would never be to use the N-word. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was totally crazy. And I think that when she consistently said it multiple times, she was letting you know that if you thought that it was just a reaction, it's not a reaction, it's who I am.
She meant it.
Why do you guys think that in 2025 that N-word, that word has so much weight over people that look like us?
Because it carries pain. Yeah, it carries pain. And we kind of normalized it to take away from the pain, but it originated from pain.
Mm-hmm. But even though many of us don't have any type of correlation to that or dealt with any of that, we just know the stories of it. When somebody calls us that word, why am I so impacted by it? Why do I respond from an emotional standpoint like I'm so angry all of a sudden? You just called me this. I'm mad because of some word. It's a word. It's a name.
Because I feel like you're just saying
we know the experience. We know the past of it. We know it all. But you're calling me that now. Huh?
And they do too. They know the history. They know the past of it. So if I hear you saying it and calling me it, you're just trying to hurt me. But
why is it hurting you? Why is it causing you to respond?
Because of the history of it. It's
the history.
Shared experience.
Because
grandparents telling you stories consistently about things that they endured, and then you connecting that to your regular life. Some of the things that they endured, it now taps into your regular life. When you're experiencing racism, it's a connection. Even if people get connected, sometimes when people watch movies on seeing, slavery, they weren't actually there, right? They're watching a movie, excuse me, but they're still like, they could see themselves in some of those situations because of some of the things that have happened. My grandmother, her mother was a slave, and then my grandmother was a maid. So when I watched the movie The Help, I identify with that because I remember my grandmother having on that little outfit and actually going into homes and cleaning homes, you know what I mean, white people. So those things connected me. And so everything always goes back into your upbringing and connects to traumas that you may have.
We gotta get past our trauma. T, I understand what you're asking because like you and I, we kind of think alike. And so you and I, the word ain't gonna do nothing to you and I. So you're asking like, why does it offend you so much? Because it would roll off of us. I hear you. I'm right.
I mean, I'm just trying to peel back a small little layer. I'm trying to. I hear you. Yeah.
I hear you. But I also agree with Rod. Yeah, I'll simplify it. It's because we know the connotation behind it. If you choose to use that word, I don't need to think about it. Like, because I know the history and everything, I don't need to think about it. But so do you, just like Rod said. So if you choose to use that word, you know the connotation behind it. You know exactly what you're trying to do right here, right now. So I understand. Like, I know you're coming at me with hate. Personally,
you're trying to provoke me, or it's just like a woman calling a man the B word.
Right.
Like, I'm not calling you that to be nice to you.
You know what that says to me though? If you will go so far as to say something like that, which is could be a hate crime, borderline hate crime, could not be a hate crime, some places. If you're gonna go that far, I'm immediately thinking, oh, I got more to lose than you. Like if you'll do something like that, I got more to lose than you. You're not worth engaging. I'm just gonna move on.
But do you, or does the woman
Well,
Shiloh
I'll tell you what
Hendrix?
I have more because I'm not gonna say anything like that. I'm not gonna treat anybody like that.
Right,
So if
because
you want to be that ignorant, I mean, technically, you the N word.
because Shiloh Hendrix in that moment when she decided to use that word, and then now she's saying, "Hey, I can't go to the gym, I can't go to the grocery store. People are like leaving death threats on my door, all this stuff like that. I got to get out of here." Like, you didn't think about that before you actually said that word, because that often happens when a white person tends to use that word, and then they think about the repercussions later on, and they're like, "Damn, I wish that I didn't say that." Or do they even wish that they didn't say it? They're like, "So what? That's if you act like one, I'm gonna call you one." That's what they're saying.
That's what she
Wow,
said.
bro.
That's what she said. Now she's paying for it. You know,
Now she's paying for
I mean,
it.
I guess both sides
Every
are working.
action
Got the
has a
support.
reaction.
Yeah, I guess you got the support, but now your face is everywhere, and good luck getting half the places that you want to get into.
Before we move on to our next topic, which is very similar, I wonder if the other names, such as, I don't know what they call Hispanics. I kind of do, but I don't want to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They call them that. With Caucasian people, they call them whatever they call them. I wonder if they really get bothered by their terms the way that we get bothered by certain
I've
terms.
heard from plenty of white people that it doesn't offend them the way that it does us. It doesn't affect them the way that it does us. And I get that, but I also have heard from, people in the LGBTQ community that it does, like the words that are derogatory towards them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that
Towards
comes from a place
the LG community.
yeah, like it affects them on the same level that it would a black person hearing the N word from someone who isn't black.
Gotcha.
So the same thing with them. But I feel like with white people, when you come from a place of privilege, I mean, you can call me whatever you want to call me. I don't care. Like I think I would feel the same way too, because it doesn't have the same history. This is in retaliation from, the hundreds of times you might have heard the N word. Oh, y'all made up a word to try to sort of get back at us. Oh, okay, whatever. Like that's how they're looking at it.
Do you think that Shiloh Hendrix is a certain type of white woman versus the white woman that would never
a loaded question for me? You guys
would never say that type of word at all?
Oh no, she had that loaded. That was unwholesome.
But she had it loaded. She had it loaded, but I'm saying, do you think that when
she's a certain type of woman, like she's a certain type of white woman?
Correct.
She recognizes her privilege and she uses her privilege appropriate. I mean, to her advantage.
But my question before we move on, I know why I'm asking this. When you have one that will never use that word and will never even think about spewing that out, or I don't know, screaming that out, whatever the case may be, but then Shiloh had no problem using it, is she a different type of Caucasian woman who don't mind using that word versus the other ones that would never use it? Because would you classify Shiloh Hendrix to be racist after hearing that?
Yes.
I can't.
Now, a woman that has never used that or would never use it, would you classify her to be racist?
Ooh.
A woman who never use it?
A Caucasian woman that would never even think about using that word, would you classify her to be racist?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't immediately hold on. I wouldn't immediately classify her as racist, but simply because you won't use that word doesn't absolve you of being racist.
Yeah, racist.
So I would say,
brow.
Yeah. So I would say she has the potential based on anything else that she could potentially do, but simply because she's not going to say the N word doesn't mean she can't be racist.
Well,
I have been in rooms with raw white women and white women who are racist through microaggressions. So, and I'm gonna tell you, the raw ones, of course, yeah. Like I know you're a racist. You're blatantly going to say things that I know are racist. But microaggressions, those are the ones I have to be much more worried about with me.
That's where I disagree.
That's just
the whole microaggression thing is where I disagree. It's so subjective. Like that could be subjective to your own feelings and your own threshold with bullshit. Like
it can be.
Microaggressions everywhere. Everywhere.
There could be, but yeah.
Well, like what I can't wrap my head around is how can she say something like that and have had a black boyfriend? Like, is this a before and after kind of situation?
Nah, that's the way she felt the whole time.
Or it was
the way she felt the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, I got to go back. Well, I got to go back because I don't think that's fair.
You don't think what's fair?
I don't even what my counterpart Kevin Brown saying what he just said.
But as soon as they see you,
I don't.
As soon as they see you, they put you in that box.
The reason why I don't think that's fair to say that, because they will never use this word. Da da da. I mean, she could still be a little racist on the background, but she just know that she shouldn't use that word. So essentially, what I hear, and correct me if I'm wrong, in the eyes of you four, you guys think that all of them are a certain type of way, regardless. Whether they use the word or not, you guys think that they're just naturally like that.
No, I think all people have a potential for good and evil, and there's many variations and like what's the word?
Levels of that.
There's different levels of it, and so one level may be you will outwardly say it, but the next level may be you will just do everything you can to avoid being in the same environment of black people, but you'll never say that word. You know.
And it depends on the demographic, their traumas, their upbringing, the way they were parented, and all those good things.
That's definitely like the reason, like when we go to why don't I date outside my race? I may love this white man, but his mama and daddy and his grandmama and his uncle and his aunties and whoever else aren't gonna. I can't trust that they're gonna love me the same way that he loves me. And I would never want to put myself in a position where they don't have to.
They don't have to.
What if that's nothing but what
what? They don't have to.
No. That's the only thing they showed you was love and acceptance.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a legit question. You dating this white dude. He takes you to meet his family.
It would never happen because I'm not going to date a white dude.
They're nicer than I thought they would be. You meet them again. You meet them 16 more times. And they've been consistent. They welcome you in. They treat you like their daughter. They call you on the weekends. How you doing? How's my boy? You exchange phone number. They showed you nothing but love and attentiveness and welcoming. You still gonna think they ain't gonna hold it down?
They have the potential to let that word come out their mouth. That's
what?
That's how I feel. They have the potential to let that word come out their mouth. They got the potential for the microaggressions. I would prefer to
have the potential to be
in that type of situation.
Do you have the potential to be racist towards them?
Of course I do.
Okay. So
if you feel that black people can be racist.
Well, he means more prejudice.
I'm not going to their house eating their potato salad.
Well,
There's certain things that I'm just not going to do. So they might take offense to that. They might take offense to that. I'm not on it. So I'm just saying, it's certain things I'm just not going to do. Kev.
So, Terrence, can I give you an example?
Please do.
Earlier in my college years, I dated outside of my race.
Good.
The woman lived in Connecticut, and I remember talking to her parents on the phone all the time, and I used to tell her, ask her, hey, do they know that I'm black? And she's, oh, we ain't had a conversation. We all good. It's all good. They invited me to vacation with them the whole summer. I drive from Pennsylvania to Connecticut, 4-hour drive, to go on vacation with them. She never told them that I was black.
And then you walk through that door.
Get out.
I walked through the door, and 10 minutes later, I was driving back home
to
Pennsylvania.
Why? If you don't mind us asking.
We don't want our daughter to date anybody like you.
They said that?
Yes.
Wow.
The moment you walked through the door, they said that.
10 minutes later, I was gone.
Wow. No.
I just drove 8 hours for nothing.
No, absolutely no disrespect to what you went through. But it is a slightly different situation than what I just talked about.
Absolutely. But I'm just saying.
But that's crazy.
Yeah,
he just giving a different example. That's what he's
just an example. Yeah. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. That's wow. That's some real get out stuff.
It is. I would look Kevin. We have been friends. I would be like, you're not driving your ass 4 hours to Connecticut.
But like I said, me up front,
You
didn't
not
know I'm black. You didn't know I'm black.
Tamisha, let me ask you this. You have a beautiful daughter. She's like the intern for Say It in 4. She's been with us for the last 2 years. I love her. Lamaya. So when she's ready to start hopping into the dating world, do you not have certain people that you're just not willing to accept?
I mean, if whoever she falls in love with is who she falls in love with. She has the right to do that. Will I accept it? I'll accept it. Will I support it? Is really what it is.
Ooh.
Okay.
I will accept who she has decided that she wants to fall in love with, but will I support it? Probably not.
But even if
and I'm gonna be great in-laws. I'm gonna be a great in-law, but we won't be intermingling families and stuff like that.
Give me somebody that you would not be supportive if she was dating them. What would that look like?
It's gonna be good.
What do you mean?
You said, would you
like Lil Connor?
I don't know who Little Connor is.
I'm just saying,
well, I mean, you'll accept it, but you won't support a certain person. So, who would that? What would they look like for you not to support it? What would they do?
What do you mean? What would they? What do you mean?
What would they do? How would they look? Like, what part of what would you not support?
Oh, just the I would not support it in the fact that we won't be intermingling families. It won't be all of us at Christmas together. My child gets pregnant, I don't expect his mama to be in the birthing room with me.
That's not what I'm asking you. That's not what I'm asking.
I'm not supporting this. You won't be paying for no wedding.
No.
I think he's asking you to paint this picture of who this person is.
You're giving me the full the backstory of what you're not willing, but I'm asking up front. The moment, same Kevin experience, when homeboy walks through the door, you're saying that you're willing to accept it, but you're not willing to support their relationship. But what would that look like? Whether it's how he looks or his height, his body, what wouldn't you support about?
If they can't use your comb, don't bring them home. She know that.
So it can't be somebody who is not an African American male. That's what you're saying.
If they can't use your comb, do not bring them home.
So hold on, but I'm asking
a Native American. She can bring home a Native American man.
But let's dig a little bit deeper. So you're not willing to support
American Samoan.
So you're not willing to support her dating outside her race for the most part.
No, I'm not.
Would you say that to them?
Yes. Y'all.
Okay. What makes you different than the person that
Kevin? Exactly what I'm getting to.
Never said I wasn't different. I said if you feel that black people can be racist, then yes, I would be being racist towards them. Never said that. Y'all have met me. Y'all know I'm blunt and straight to the point. Soon as Lil Connor walked in the door, I'd be like, look, we use seasoning in this house.
But how does that?
I don't know how y'all fell in love. I don't really even know what y'all got in common. But okay.
So often I hear from both you and Rod that the black community is the more compassionate community. It is the more understanding community because we went through so many trials and tribulations. And still we have such a giving culture and giving heart for which all these other cultures adopt and assimilate to. And all that is true. But in this moment, you showed us that
I'm not willing.
You showed us that one black racism is a thing.
Sure.
Two,
I don't feel like it can be because I do believe we're
hypocrisy as well, because you'll chastise a white person for doing something racist towards a black person, yet you just admitted that you would outwardly do something racist towards a white person. So how does that set up?
A white person trying to be a part of my family? Yes.
But hold on. That's the same thing white people do. Anyways, but how does that?
And I feel like they have the right to do that.
But how does that align?
They have the right to do that.
But how does that align with the more compassionate and understanding community that we identify ourselves as? If
we haven't been in history, racist, have we not been in history, Kevin? Been more compassionate?
I already admitted. I already acknowledged that is true.
And taking in all of that. So but me as a person, I don't have to sign on to that. I don't have to buy into that.
Yeah. So you're evident. So what you're evidencing right now.
Both things can be true.
Hold on, hold on. So what you're evidencing right now is individualized racism. You're saying you're not the people, you're not the culture, right? And you're saying that's okay because this is you and not the people.
Exactly.
I've made the same argument in the other way around because again, my goal is not for us to love white people. Our goal is for us to be able to cohabitate and work cohesively with everybody, right? But we always get stagnated on
Work cohesively, meaning together.
together.
Yeah.
Together with baseline common respect and
Okay.
exchange.
And you think that they can do that?
That's my goal.
I don't think
that's what these conversations is to get to that point. So I call out things like hypocrisy in this situation.
Kevin Jones, if your son walked through the door and he brings a woman that doesn't look like his family, how do you feel about that?
It's a vibe over here, brother. As long as he treat him good, I'm good.
Valid.
And we got to move over to. Go ahead.
Oh, I got a 25-year-old daughter that dated a Colombian. When he came in the house, he was very respectful, shook my hand, looked me in the eyes. He was a part of the family until they broke up. But I mean, vacations, Christmas, all that. Listen. You treat my daughter right, you treat my son right, we good. I can care less. Right. That's my main point is, hey, do you feel safe? Can he protect you? You know, because once I pass this off, this is you. So that's my heart. So you can protect her, keep her safe, make her feel loved.
I want to add to that if I could. I had an example. So, I'm the oldest. So my sister, I'm going to use my brother and sister as an example because my brother is like 15 years younger than me. And so my brother has dated, white women. He's brought them home. And, when you enter our family, like I come from a very loving family. And so, again, if you treat my brother right, you're respectful, you are more than, invited in. My sister is actually engaged to a white man. And they're going to get married, and he's an amazing guy. He goes, he helps my dad, he cuts grass with my dad, do all those good things. Mm-hmm. My mom loves him. My mom even makes jokes that she likes him better than she likes us. It's a little joke because he's really, really a good person. Mm-hmm. And, he makes my sister feel safe. And the point I'm making is that it's not, I know sometimes things come off as race, but people really just want for their kid or whomever, their sibling to feel protected. And to be around somebody respectful, that's really, really what it's all about. And that's necessarily, to me, that's really, really the takeaway. But if you are coming into our domain, I don't want you to ever think that we're going to bite our tongue if something's not right. That's my only thing. I'm going to always base things on, again, we're going to talk about demographics, we're going to talk about the truth. And so just as long as you know when you come into this space that we're not going to sugarcoat nothing, especially not in my family, they're not going to.
So how did you feel about that when she brought Connor through the door?
That man's name.
Oh, you talking about me? You talking to me?
Yeah.
So when my sister brought the white,
did she tell y'all in advance as opposed to Kevin?
What's funny? I don't think she told us that he was like white. So basically, I had never met him, but I didn't meet him honestly until their engagement party. And so, before he proposed, and I had never met him in person. I had talked to him on the phone, and he came up to me. And he's like, my parents told me that he asked them, could he marry her? And so he didn't know they had told me that. So he came up to me and he said, hey, I asked your parents, could I marry your sister? And I kind of made a joke. I was like, man, they must have tell you I'm the oldest. You got to get my permission too. And so me and him kind of like laughed, and we end up going out to breakfast. And he's a really, really cool guy. My thing with any of my siblings, like, partners, I'm cool with you. Me and him went to breakfast and we cool. And he's a very, very nice guy. But I always make sure I have that boundary. So I'm cool. We eat breakfast, and I'm not going to hit you up every day. I might check on you every now and then because I want you to always remember that is my brother, that is my sister. You get what I'm saying? I want you to know that if you act up or if you get out of line, that we all are going to be unified in getting you up out of here. And so I'm going to be nice and cool with you, but I'm also going to kind of like put my arm up a little bit to let you know, like, if you won't act right, you're going to have to get up out of here.
But that's not even a race. That's not a race thing. Yeah,
that's not a race thing.
That's a brotherly thing.
Yeah, he said it's not based on that for him.
Right.